My husband Carl and I have been married for 36 years. And for 25 of those years, he's been fighting for the people of Texas as a pastor, a mayor, a rural city manager, and now a state representative in Austin. Yet and still, every morning when he walks out of that door, my prayer is the same. Keep him safe, Lord. But you and I know that prayer alone is not enough. That's why Mayor Carl Sherman led one of the first cities of the nation to require body cameras for police. And as state representative, he led a bipartisan coalition to pass Bowe's Law, requiring officers with body-worn cameras to keep them on during the entire investigation. There are leaders that talk about it, and then there are those like my husband who have the tenacity and common sense to get things done. And I can promise you this, there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that would keep Carl Sherman from standing up for you in Washington. For Carl, the fight for Texas families is personal. Like many of you, our 3 sons and 2 daughters are the pride and joy of our lives. They've worked hard to lead a life rooted in faith and in commitment to family. And of course, our biggest blessings of all, our 8 beautiful grandchildren. Public service is in our DNA. Carl Jr. works in healthcare, and Ryan is a worship leader in the church. Erin, our youngest daughter, helps manage a Christian music artist. Our middle son, Ellis, is a firefighter, and our youngest son, Jordan, is a police officer. And we are beyond proud that they're willing to risk life and limb to protect the neighbors and those in danger. But I have to be honest, these past few years have been tough on all of us. We've cried together, we've grieved together, we've prayed together. And our prayer for your children and grandchildren has been the same prayer we pray for our own. Keep them safe, Lord. Just keep them safe. So now Texas, we've got a big decision to make. Rising tuition costs, out of control inflation on everything from groceries to car repairs, investments in quality employment, healthcare and housing, and reducing violence that is ravishing our communities. Your issues, your concerns, the things that keep you up at night, the conversations over Sunday dinner about safety and fairness and level playing field. Carl Sherman hears you, and he's ready. He's ready to fight for you and all our children's futures.
I'm Carl Sherman, and I live this message. My God is the one who fights for us. We have a strong God. A strong God who does not need us to fight for him. He's a woke God. Because I read in Psalms 121, verse 4, that he never sleeps nor slumbers. We've got a good God. But I'm not here to preach to you what most of you already know. I am so very blessed. I have a wonderful, blessed wife. Every campaign that I've seen over the years, the candidate gets up, Grady, and he talks about himself, or she talks about herself, and says all the many wonderful, positive attributes that they have, and they essentially tell us who they are. But my wife, who has lived with me for more than 36 years, unabated, uninterrupted, knows me better than anybody. She is not only my wife, she is my best friend. And I'm grateful to God for her. She didn't have to do that. She wanted to do it. To be the person who would be the spokesperson for me, Warren, to tell people don't mess with my husband. And I want you to know that if anybody ever messes with my wife, they got another thing coming. You know, to have so many friends, not only here in DeSoto, but in North Dallas, Plano, Carrollton, Frisco, East Texas to come, the mayors and the other dignitaries that are here today. I know your schedules are hectic. I know that your time is limited. And you chose to be here today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. When I came in early to prepare, Judy, for this moment, because Councilwoman Marks, this is not something that I take lightly. In fact, much like Mayor Proctor when I was called to the ministry, I didn't want to hear it. See, I'm not a person who seeks high office. My neighbor Gail, who is here today, would tell you that I hate politics. I'm an introvert. But when God calls you to do something, you don't have a choice. And so as I prepared to come in here to speak today, and Sister Kendall, I was talking to one member of the audience who was sitting right over here. And she was a granddaughter of one of the members of the tech team that's set up here today. And I asked her her name. Her name is Markeisha. And I may be mispronouncing that. So if you're still here, Markeisha, 8 years old, I want you to know that I apologize. I was born in a time when we just had old-fashioned names like Fred, Carl. We didn't have such elegant imaginations, and we didn't have parents that had such vision to project the future. Because as the African proverb says, to name something is to define it, bring it down to size, and make it yours. And so God bless you, because I know your parents put a lot of thought into that name to know that you would be a young lady of great wisdom. I asked her the question that adults typically ask young people: what are you going to do when you grow up? Rod, she told me something that I had to write it down. Yes, she said, my whole goal is to be kind. I said, and? She said, respect God's favor. An 8-year-old in America, the richest nation in the world, said, I want to be kind and respect God's favor. I stand here today as a man who is truly blessed with an abundance of favor from God, as is in evidence of you being here today. You see, these days have caused me to pray more and more for our families. The last few years, we've faced many challenges. In our country, most, I believe, are man-made. As one who believes in the grace and goodness of Jesus Christ, I've come to know God sometimes calls us to serve in manners and ways that we don't always see. That said, I know that what we see as God's people isn't always understood by the world. Yet if we are called, whether it be to the pulpit or public service, we must accept the call. With that, I, Carl Sherman, on this day, Saturday, September 9th, declare my candidacy for the U.S. Senate. And I affirm to you that I will work hard at defending your rights and everyone's rights, as I mean everyone. I'm running for the United States Senate because our democracy is under attack. All of our rights are under assault. Whether you are a woman, Asian, Muslim, Jewish, Hispanic, black, or an immigrant, a member of the LGBTQI community, or any community. Texas needs a United States senator who understands that we are to serve everyone. And I do mean everyone. Texas needs a United States senator who will stand up for all of us, our children, our families, small business owners, and the working people of Texas. We need more good-paying jobs in Texas. Not just jobs, but good-paying jobs. I'm sick and tired. As a former rural city manager, I've seen firsthand what we pay our police officers in these small towns. It's unacceptable. It's indecent. No police officer should be making less than a Buc-ee's employee when they are risking their lives to protect us, and they have to work 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet. I believe that it's on all of us to ensure that we have good pay for good police. Yeah, that can get an applause. We need more hospitals in our rural communities. We need more doctors in our rural communities. And dadgummit, yes, my mother would have said dadgummit. My mother passed away last year in August. And as you know, Sister Chappelle, my mother taught me so well, and all of us, that there is no reason that I shouldn't make heaven my home. She taught me what the Word says. She taught me that when God gives you favor, you should be concerned about the least of these. We have a nation of leaders who have forgotten the least of these. What good are you if you will not concern yourself with those who God is concerned about? And He gives us an open book test. Whether you're in the White House, whether you're in the Senate or Congress, whether you serve as a mayor or on the school board, God gives us a responsibility that we ought to see everyone as a part of humanity. And I know that I'm not running to be your preacher, but I do believe that every leader who is elected must have a moral compass that leans towards righteousness and not this partisan, polarizing, ultra values that they want to put on every one of us. God is God. You read my speech, all by Himself. And unlike man, God doesn't have a God complex. But some women and men who are elected into these positions think that it is their position to pass on their moral values compulsory to you and I. I love the Lord. And I know Jesus Christ loves me. But I know the Lord that I serve doesn't make me, doesn't force me, doesn't want to compel me to do anything unless I love Him. And so who am I but a mere man who is striving to be right? I've got my own challenges in my own house. And so I'm running to be the U.S. Senator for every single 30 million Texan in this great state. In the rural communities, we deserve better Wi-Fi. And we can do it. This is the United States of America. As your senator, I will not forget about the ranchers and the farmers in this great state. I'm a man of God who has all the people of our state and believe that I'm called to public service for a higher calling than power I'm sick and tired of individuals who are concerned about the next election, pandering to ultra values instead of our united values. We have an issue here. We have a problem here. When individuals are scared to vote their values because some small group is pushing their ultra values. And that must stop in this election, and it stops with you and I participating in our own democracy. As an ordained Christian minister, as a Democrat from DeSoto, yes, I'm a suburban Democrat, but I understand the needs and desires of rural Texans as a former city manager. I understand the issues are different, but they are not to be polarized. We should work together. And that's why I have the support of many mayors in this great state. They understand that Carl Sherman doesn't see rural and urban. Carl Sherman doesn't see black and white. Sherman doesn't see Republican and Democrat. Carl Sherman doesn't see Latino and Asian American. Carl Sherman sees one people, a part of one great state, in one nation, who have similar needs, that we all need to work together in collaboration to come together for the betterment of all people of Texas. That's what I see. And I know all too well the issues of rural Texas, the lack of infrastructure, the lack of quality water resources. And as I talk to the mayors, whether it be in Carrollton, from Abilene to Palestine, thought I'd put a little rhyme in there. I intend and I'm committed to see all the people. I see you. And as your next U.S. Senator, I believe in the importance of building coalitions for the betterment of all Texans. Yes, I'm a suburban Democrat, but that's just where I am. That's not who I am. Who I am is a man of God, made in the image of God, who sees that God made all men of one blood, and we are to be one together in serving the interests of others. And so, thank you, that lone clapper. And so, as I think about all of the teachers who work hard in our classrooms to teach our children, who battle the challenges of political forces coming into the classroom, I'm concerned about the quality of education that we are now doing that seems to be more partisan and political than ever before. It seems to be there is an indoctrination of trying to change, to make history more palatable. And God says that the Old Testament is for our learning. And if we are a Judeo-Christian nation, and I believe we are, then we ought to be true to the Word of God. And so it is my mission as your next U.S. Senator to fight for our retired teachers, our working teachers, because how you teach or how you treat retired folks tells us how you wanted to treat them when they were working. And so we will focus on making sure that our retired teachers receive better compensation. Why shouldn't they be a part of Social Security? Teachers deserve that benefit. And as I come close to my close, I want you to know this too. When I serve in an office, I never forget, it's not my office, Bishop Gordon. It's the people's office. And I serve for a time. I don't serve in perpetuity. And I believe there is no reason, if the president has term limits, the U.S. Senate should have term limits. If the president has term limits, the Congress should have term limits. If the president has term limits, the Supreme Court should have term limits. Because the older you get, you're not as... I read of one person in the Bible, Moses, that his strength never wavered even as he aged, but I don't see any Moses walking around here. And I believe that we must introduce humanity back to politics. We must see people, all people, the same as people, blessed with an innate privilege to be treated with dignity and respect in America. And so as we began this journey today, as we look forward to the future, I want you to know I'm a very hardworking, sensible man who believes that you've got to roll up your sleeves and do the work. As we start here in North Texas, and we began our journey to East Texas, where we have friends there that are waiting for us, who have committed to give me their endorsements, not even knowing if I would announce, but saying that they would hold their endorsement until knowing if I would run. Thank you to those folks in East Texas. Thank you to those folks in West Texas. Thank you to those folks in South Texas and in North Texas and Central Texas, all the way to El Paso. Thank you. God bless you. I'm looking forward to being your next U.S. Senator. In closing, as a former city manager, if we had a problem with our roads, if we had a pothole, we'd send Public Works out to fix it. If we had a bridge that cars and vehicles rolled off the bridge, we would put up rails to protect people from going off the bridge. If we had communities and neighborhoods where cars drove down those roads fast, we would erect signs that said, "Slow down, we love our children." We need elected leaders who are more bold for standing up for our children, to have more respect and honor for our second graders than they do to the interpretation of the Second Amendment. We need people who are willing to listen to law enforcement when they tell us that when you allow anybody and everybody to have a gun, it makes their jobs more dangerous. And I'm sick and tired of having to have my police officers, as a former city manager, my police chief, which I have one of my former chiefs here with me today, to have to send out their officers with limited gun power against legally purchased weapons that were intended for the battleground. That shouldn't be. And if we honor the blue, we would listen to them. We've got some work to do. And I'm grateful to God that you are a part of this team. And to those who are working hard to defend our democracy, I have a special message to all of our county chairs, all of our precinct chairs, who sacrificed day and night trying to galvanize the electorate to get involved with the election process. You work so hard and tirelessly, giving up your time campaigning so that people will understand the issues that are on the ballot. To our precinct chairs and county chairs, though your names are not on the ballot, your work is. I'm thankful to God for you. Because if it wasn't for you, many of us would not even be known by our constituents. So thank you. Thank you, county chairs in Harris County, in Loving, Texas, in Loving County, in El Paso, in Taylor County. All over this great state, the 254 counties that we have, the 1,214 cities that cover this massive state, you're the ones that are out there going door to door. You are the ones that are sacrificing your dinner times to be out there talking with us about why it matters that we vote. Thank you. And may God bless you. Thank you for your support. And thank you. And as my wife would say, honey, you need to tell him your name. My name is Carl Sherman, and I'm running for U.S. Senate. God bless you. Thank you.